Before we dive into this video, make sure you head on over to Tier List, our brand new channel. I'll be on it, Lucy McPhee will be on it. Who knows, maybe we'll even rank some horror stuff. That'd be pretty dope, right? Anyway, if you jump on over to Tier List right now and subscribe, the first 10,000 subscribers will be in a chance to win $250. That's pretty big. Go and do it right now. Let's go. Murky legends of the deep blue sea have been a central component in the course of many civilizations across our history. From the mythology of the Kraken to the salty sea shanties of the Flying Dutchman, Davy Jones and his dead man's chest, legends of the sea have been a cautionary tale about the horrifying implications of dipping your toe in the water, ever posing the uncomfortable question, what truly lies beneath? Well, maybe you should just forget about that entire line of thinking, because let me introduce you to SCP-1128, the aquatic horror, and believe me, you'll never want to go swimming in the ocean again. Hello internet, what's going on? And once again, welcome back to the most inquisitive channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions. As per usual, I'll be your disembodied floating voice, Jack Finch, as today we curiously ask the question, what if SCP-1128 was real? Roll the clip. For the curious amongst you, that scene was from 2018's Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which was a pretty bogus movie if we're being honest, but you can't deny when we're looking for a cinematic portrayal of a massive aquatic predator, then the Mosasaurus of Isla Nublar is a pretty fitting candidate, right? But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because first we need to paint a vividly unnerving picture as to why SCP-1128 is so damn terrifying. And also, if you suffer from thalassophobia, as in the fear of open water and the creatures that lurk beneath, then you'll probably have a tough time digesting this video, because 1128 is the literal definition of needing a bigger boat. As the record states, SCP-1128 is a Euclid class anomalous entity that manifests as a massive aquatic predator to anyone that's given a full description of its appearance, be it through either spoken, written descriptions, or even visual depictions of the being. So yeah, all of the artwork in this video will perhaps be a little bit risky for you. But don't worry, because we'll be administering Class C amnestics right at the end. After all, safety first. And this is the most important part of our hypothetical play-by-play, because essentially any awareness of this massive aquatic predator acts as a highly dangerous cognito hazard, capable of inflicting anyone and everyone with a literal shark monster ticking time bomb floating above their heads. Now, it's not all doom and gloom, because if you're afflicted by the SCP-1128 cognito hazard, then you'll only meet your demise the next time you enter a body of water. So just stay away from swimming, maybe, right? But by a body of water, I mean literally any body of water, even a bathtub. Well, actually maybe an anomalous paddling pool like SCP-120, but that's by the by. But remember that point, because given enough time, that required body of water gradually gets smaller and smaller, and can often result in the most unexpected dives into the deep end. As in, yes, there have been instances of the infected being sucked into a bottle of water. Just let that sink in. Persons infected by SCP-1128 will initially exhibit no abnormal behavior, though some cases show a general aversion to activities involving bodily immersion in water, such as bathing or swimming. However, should the subject ever be fully immersed in water, they will disappear completely under the surface, regardless of the body of water's actual depth. In most cases, subjects will reappear moments later in a panicked state and frantically try to leave the water, while in some other cases, the water will become polluted with blood and biological debris confirmed to be the remains of the subject. Gross. As in, yes, they've been chewed up and spit out, but not booed off stage, but eaten by the giant aquatic predator that we can't talk about or describe. If you think about it, it's frighteningly effective, because our entire civilization is based upon oral tradition. As humans, we are designed to tell stories, horrifying cautionary tales to warn others not to stare too deep into the abyss. But when we apply the mechanics of SCP-1128 to that innate desire to share our deepest fears, just imagine the murderous destruction. Picture this, you're out in a small restaurant in the coast, and a grizzled old sailor tells you the most haunting shanty of his time on the seven seas, of a great aquatic monster so horrific and vile that it makes your stomach churn. He describes it so perfectly and vividly, but you pass it off as just another story and go on with your life, completely unaware of the sentence that has just been passed. Obviously, you'd be afflicted by the 1128 cognitohazard, and the next time you took a bath or went swimming, you'd pretty much be done for. But in modern times, we can't help but share information. We can't help ourselves from permeating horrifying tales out across the internet, exactly like this one. It's pretty safe to assume that if SCP-1128 was real, probably for the first few weeks of its existence, no one would believe it to be true. But perhaps the few survivors of SCP-1128 would share their experiences of the aquatic horror on some backwater message board, and gradually, as memetics have a habit of doing, it would become more and more widespread. It would be the latest craze, just like all the other famous creepypastas, Slenderman, Anansi's Goatman, Momo. It would be a viral sensation. Message boards would be a buzz. Can you dare to read this story? Will you dare to witness the full description of the aquatic horror? Under these circumstances, it's very easy to imagine some form of XK-class extinction event getting out of hand, as the anomalous hunger of SCP-1128 cannot be sated, and people across the planet would rapidly disappear in bodies of water in their thousands, and then perhaps their hundreds of thousands. It would be a pandemic that, frankly, we'd never be able to contain without the aid of the SCP Foundation. And in this hypothetical scenario, let's assume that there is no secret shadowy organization out there to save us. Gradually, though, the authorities would find some form of connection with those missing and the aquatic horror creepypasta, and perhaps they'd try their utmost to shut it down, to warn those that tried to get their hands on it that it would be fatal to do so. But let's be honest, that would only serve to further its reach, wouldn't it? It's human nature to want to test yourself through the simulation of fear, even if it would potentially mean getting eaten by a giant anomalous oceanic predator. Maybe there'd even be movies made about it, entire conventions set up around the fearful fandom of the aquatic horror. Obviously though, not everyone would fall victim to the memetic pandemic of SCP-1128, thalassophobes in particular, and also those that have no interest whatsoever in the fads of the internet. The nature of memes are to surge in popularity for a wild moment and then eventually fade back down into obscurity, even with the murderous pandemic of SCP-1128. Given enough time, the legend of the aquatic horror would be forgotten as a more wiser and more savvy civilization stepped into the future, the offspring of entire generations of people that learn the hard way not to fall victim to tall tales and the terrifying dangers of the ocean, and not to believe everything that you read on the internet. But still, SCP-1128 would be out there, wouldn't it? Lurking at the bottom of the deep blue sea, waiting patiently for someone to remember its image so it could feast on a whole new generation of brave new horror fans. Alright guys, well, in that case, that's enough SCP-1128. Please remain seated for your Class C amnestics to be administered.
I am just a figment of your imagination.
Well, there we have it, the way that we see things if that particular redacted anomalous entity was real. And now we can't talk about it anymore because we'll have to administer the amnestics all over again, and you have to build up a tolerance to those things, don't you? So, what did you guys think? Do you have any more to add? Make sure to let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below, as well as any feedback on what you think we should cover next here at Life's Biggest Questions. Before we depart from today's video, let's first take a quick look at some of your more resounding remarks from over the past few days. First up, Matthew Brooks says, "The Dark Tower reference, I got you, baby. Thank you, Jack." No, Matthew Brooks. Thank you. Long days and pleasant nights, my good lad. And then Egg the Lord 250 says, "What old saying is just there are other worlds than these? That's a stupid saying." This is pretty awkward, isn't it? Well, on that note, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for in today's video. Cheers for sticking around all the way until the end. If you were a fan of this video, or just Life's Biggest Questions in general, then please be a dear and hit that thumbs up button, as well as that subscribe bell, and we'll be seeing you in the next one. As per usual, I've been your disembodied floating voice, Jack Finch. You've been watching Life's Biggest Questions, and until next time, you take it easy.